Have you seen this billboard advertisement while you were driving along Highway 12? Fellow Toastmasters and guests. Today, I would like to talk about twin tunnel controversy. Of course, we have been hearing the news about constructions and building of twin tunnels since last several years over the news media. And there are certain group of people who would like to go for the tunnel, and other people who do not want that tunnel go forward. Some people like environmentalists, conservationists, water right advocates, politicians, especially senators and congressmen in the north, they do not want twin tunnel go forward. So today, I would like to talk about some of their concerns and would like to address those issues in my speech. First of all, those opponents, they argue that once twin tunnel is constructed, the fresh water supply won't be available for the Bay and Delta area. Then what happens after that is all those endangered species such as delta smelt, longtail smelt, they will be in trouble. Not only that, those farmers who are getting fresh water supply for their farm to irrigate won't be having enough water supply for them. So that in order to, rather than going the economy upward because of this farming land, all will turn into idle land, and because of that, our economy will go down. The second argument, what they think that once twin tunnel is constructed, we, especially in the north, will be obligated to surrender our water right to the south. Once we surrender our water right to the south, we won't be having enough water for our own development. For example, in 2030, 2050, when we will be developing some communities or developing or creating additional projects and infrastructures. At that time, we won't be having enough fresh water supply. Then we will be far in trouble. The third point, they think that there is nothing that twin tunnel can do regarding the water crisis that we have now because of this drought. But they argue that because of the drought, we already are having water crisis. We do not have fresh water for our human day-to-day life. We are in the conservation mode. So in such a condition, if we invest such huge money and build those twin tunnels, and where is the water to divert? Since we do not have extra water, there is no point of diverting fresh water through the twin tunnel. Rather than building twin tunnel, they strongly think that we should adapt additional ways, such as conservation method, water transfer programs, and also water recycling, desalination, and creating additional water bank, groundwater recharge. So those are the methods that we should adapt in order to solve our water crisis. And then the fourth point, they always point finger at the budget that currently twin tunnel has. As of now, they propose that twin tunnel is going to cost about $15.5 billion. But what they think that by 2024, the budget $15.5 billion will not be enough, and it will go up to $69 billion. Because they think that the head agency, Department of Water Resources, does not have very clear and accurate way of estimating the budget. Always they point finger at DWR. It's because in the past, what happened in 1991, when the coastal branch aqueduct was proposed, which is a part of our state water project, during 1991, the initial estimated budget was only $235 million. But when the project was complete, it went up to $570 million. And regarding with the reliability of the water supply, they expected to get about 96% of reliability, but on an average, they are getting only 36% reliability. So looking at that history, those opponents, especially they argue that this budget is not enough and will not help to complete the project. That's why they are strongly against the building the twin tunnel. And other thing, what they think is that when the budget will go up to $69 billion, those investors who would like to invest that huge amount will get defaulted. Once they get defaulted, then we will pay the price, we Californians, because government of California has to pay. That eventually come into the taxpayers' head. So that's why they are strongly opposite. But me, working as in the Department of Water Resources and as an engineer, I think that those points, although they look kind of realistic, but most of these points are not right. Is because building the twin tunnel doesn't mean that we will be diverting entire freshwater resources through the twin tunnel. There will be certain water will go along the Sacramento River that will help to sustain those ecological habitat and enhance the environment. What it will happen, it will rather adjust the reverse flow that currently we have. That will help to increase the population of those endangered fish species in and around the delta. The other thing is that we cannot do anything regarding with the senior water right that those farmers have in and around the delta, because we are obligated to provide water to those farmers because of the senior water right and also riparian right they have. Therefore, they will be getting enough water and our economy will remain intact. Of course, Bay and Delta is a huge hub of agriculture economy, so that will remain intact. Therefore, their argument of Bay Delta will go into danger is not right. The second point, we engineers and scientists, of course, we already know that California is already overdue with earthquake larger than 8 Richter scale. That means at any time we may get hit by the earthquake of such magnitude. So if that happens in and around Bay Delta area, what happens to our fragile levees? They will be completely damaged and completely destroyed. Then we won't have any fresh water available to pump through those two pumping tunnels. Then we'll be far in trouble because our economy go in such a directions that it will take hundreds of years to come back. So thinking into that directions, why don't we construct the twin tunnels which can sustain the earthquake of such magnitude? That will help us to avoid such a catastrophe. Therefore, constructing the twin tunnel is the best and great alternative for us at hand. And the third argument, regarding with the drought. Of course, we cannot do anything about the drought because drought is a natural phenomenon. But we can reduce the impact of the drought. And if we see the history of California hydrological cycle since last 150 years, you can clearly see there have been some wet years and some dry years. So dry and wet years are coming like a sinusoidal fashion, just like day and night. So that means since 2012 to now, if we have dry years, then there will be additional wet years in the future. So if that happens, we will get plenty of opportunity to divert as much water as we can through the storm channel, so that we can store additional water into our upstream reservoir and we can recharge our groundwater in the south. So during dry time, we can use that additional water that we store, so we can better manage our scarce water resources in that way. So that is why we need twin tunnel at this point. And the fourth point, regarding the budget, what they think that budget will go up to $69 billion, but I do not anticipate that it will go up to $69 billion. Well, it may go up to like 18 or 19 billion dollars because of the regular inflation that we can see by 2024. However, if we can assure our investor with certain probability and certain confidence that they will be receiving fresh water supply from those twin tunnels, then they will be happy to invest for the project. So if they invest for the project, then we have the capacity here in DWR to manage the twin tunnel project. Look, we are managing our state water project since 1950s. Where we were back in 1950s and where we are now. The state water project is helping us to irrigate our land, more than 750,000 acres of land in southern San Joaquin valleys, and providing water supply for more than 25 million people. Our economy is growing. So given the opportunity, if they can invest such amount of money for the twin tunnel project, we can very well manage the twin tunnel project. And of course, they will pay back the loan slowly by slowly, just like the state water contractor have been paying the loan for the state water project. Therefore, I believe that constructing the twin tunnel would be the right thing to do at this point, and that will help us the water crisis that we have in the state of California in a long run. Because we're having so much disparity and diversity of this water resource crisis. We have so much water in the north and we do not have any water in the south. So if we can convey our fresh water supply from the north to the south through the twin tunnel, we will be far better off in the long run. Thank you.